Hi, and welcome to the consulting video course for medical billers and coders. In this video series, I'm going to show you how you can create your own consulting business above and beyond your current day job. Now, the big question is, what is consulting? Consulting covers a very broad above and beyond just and general field. So, you could be consulting businesses. You could consult individuals, whether, let's say, for example, that you're good at skiing. You could find people who want to expand their practice. You can find people that want to learn a specific series of codes, maybe medical auditing, no E&M codes, things like that, but you can also do businesses as well. In fact, consulting local businesses is pretty much where the money is at. So, if you want to make, a couple $1,000s or more per client, definitely go after consulting businesses. This course will be general, so you can literally apply it to any skill, really. Now you definitely want to do the proper research before you actually create your consulting service, but you also want to make sure that you enjoy what you're doing. So, we are going to cover both in this course. I'm going to show you how you can find and create consulting services that are profitable and that you actually enjoy. Now the big question that you need to ask yourself is, are you going to be consulting online businesses or offline businesses? Now you can do both if you want, but it's better if you can focus on, specifics. Online businesses pretty much cover worldwide, and offline businesses cover the local businesses that are close by to you. Now I say businesses, but like I said, this video series is focused on businesses because that's where the money's at. But if you want to consult not to businesses, but to individuals, you can do that as well. But I just want to make that clear. So why do you want to do consulting? Well, consulting is probably the fastest way. You can make a large sum of money quick, and it's great because you have a low amount of money that you have to invest because it's pretty much either service-based or you're already good at it. So, you're advising people on how to improve and how to fulfill their problems or needs. Consulting is all about helping others, helping businesses and things like that. So, you know, if you create a business, your whole goal is to help others. So with consulting, yes. What you get to do that all the time. You get to be paid by being on the phone with people, coaching them, consulting them, you know, helping them improve their business or improve individual needs. Whatever that might be. Another question that you need to ask yourself is, are you going to go after one niche or are you going to go after a broad niche? Now, let me give you some examples. If you're going after one niche, let's say for example, that you're going to be a consultant. And let's say for example, that I'm a marketing consultant. So, I can pretty much consult any type of business out there because I understand, you know, online marketing or offline marketing. So, I can consult different businesses. Now, niche examples would be, let's say for example, that I want to focus on realtors. Now I've been dealing with realtors lately, and I found that realtors, they make a lot of money just by selling one house. They often get like 6%. So, if they were to sell, let's say for example, a $100,000 house. Well, 6% of that. The listing agent and the realtor or your realtor, they split that normally. So, they get about 6% per house. Yeah. Give and take, you know, they spend anywhere from a couple days or so per person or a week per person. And they find that house and they make that money. So, we're talking about, they're making a couple $1,000s each and every sale and really depending on how big the house is as well. So, if you're a marketing consultant, you can focus specifically on realtors and let's say in a realtors and making good money, you know, you're making a couple $1,000s consulting them. You go into that market of realtors. You can go deeper, you can go into, let's say foreclosure realtors. Specific types of realtors to get in specifics. Now the good side about that is you're specifically focused. So, you may not have as much competition, but the problem is that you may not have as many clients, but you don't need a lot of clients to get good money. And that's what makes this business model rate. Another example, you could be chiropractor. Marketing consultants, chiropractors charge not a lot of money, but they charge a good amount of money per visit. So, go after chiropractors as a marketing consultant. You can do salon marketing. So, focused specifically on salons. Of course, there's not a ton of money, but if you go after specific salons that cater to people that get a haircut and they get shampoo. They get everything, especially women, they get all these different hairs dyeing, things like that. The money can add up and on a consistent basis. So, salons do. Make good money with specific clients. So if you can specifically focus towards salons that are making good money, or it's towards businesses that are making good money, then you can actually go after that niche. Okay. Now, extreme niche examples. You could be like, let's say for example, a marketing consultant, but you're not doing everything, you're doing specifically. Pay per click. And what I found with local businesses, a lot of local businesses have done their research. So, a lot of times they've approached me and said, hey, I need a pay per click campaign. I've heard a lot of great things about Google Hours and that I can get people, targeted locally. For my business. So, you could do extreme niche examples like this realtor or provide specific traffic methods to these businesses. Broad examples are just like marketing consultant, wrestling consultant, or wrestling coach, different types of consultants, but they're a little broader. So, with this, you can actually. If you're starting out, that's probably the best way to start out as a marketing consultant. You can say you're marketing consultant as your clientele grows, and you find out that you're making more money from realtors or chiropractors or specific businesses, then you can brand yourself as a realtor marketing consultant. So, the key really is to create your business, figure out. Either figure out originally or do some tests and figure out which one is more profitable, or a website consultant, copywriting consultant, and so forth. Consult marketing consultants. If you want now, what do I mean by that? Well, I've done a lot of consultations with business coaches. So think about it. I'm in the marketing consultant and I consult other marketing consultants, which then go out to consult business coaches then go out and consult businesses. So, with these types, actually you can make pretty good money with this, because business coaches, make good money, or marketing consultants that consult business coaches. I know this is a lot of stuff, but basically if you're consulting business coaches, it's actually a lot easier to do. I found over the years, because they already have a good amount of knowledge, but you're just giving them specific, tightly focused knowledge to help them help their clients, which are businesses. Now, let me give you a quick overview. You have this whole video series as a whole, so that you understand what I'm going to talk about in this video series, so you can expect it and it will all come together in a faster manner. So, video number 1 is, of course, as this video. Number 2, I'm going to show you how you can determine your skill set and what you're good at. There are specific methods that I use that I've found over the years helped me. Fine. You know what I'm good at? You know what I enjoy and what kind of consulting I can do. And I've used this to help other people find what they're good at as well. So, I'm sure you'll enjoy that video. Number 3, we're going to talk about researching your market and your competition. So, once you've figured out, okay, what you're good at and what your skill set are, then you can research that specific market and research your competition. So, you're figuring out, okay, is this really profitable or not? And how much competition is there? Half there is competition. That's great. If there's too much competition, then you might want to move to local business arena because there's not as much competition in that area. And then video number 4, we're going to do some brainstorming, figuring out your services. So of course, the video number 2, I'm not really going to dive too much into you. Figure out your services. That's what we're going to do in video number 4. Figuring out what you're good at and what you can provide other people in terms of consulting services. Video number 5. We're going to talk about creating an outline, creating your services. So, once you figure it out, what your services are going to be about, video 5, we're going to take that and create an outline and create your services. So, we're going to talk about your services and how much you're going to charge, things like that. Video number 6, we're going to talk about creating and setting up your websites, basically setting up your landing pages, your autoresponders and things like that to get you set up so that you can begin to capture leads for the number 7. And we're also going to talk about pre-launching phase, why it's important to build curiosity. So, after you've done everything, you've set up your services. You've created your lists. You critique your landing pages and so forth. You still need to do some pre-launching or marketing to build up curiosity. So, one thing you could do is you could do webinars and things like that, but we won't dive too much into that. Right now, video number 8, the last video, we're going to talk about marketing. This is vital. Once you set up your system, you need to market, and I'm not going to leave you in the dark. I'm going to show you how to find out where your clients are hiding. Basically, where are your clients? Where are these clients that want to pay you $500,000, $2,000 just to get you to consult them? Now, let me talk about the tools that you're going to need. Fortunately for you, you don't need a lot of money. You do need some web hosting and you do need a domain name so that you can set up your website. Webinar service is optional, and you need to record video. Whether that's live video or Camtasia, Camtasia is pretty much what I'm using right now. It gives you the ability to record, screen capture or PowerPoint. And you can do live video too. If you have some sort of recording device, and then you need some money, but you don't need a whole lot of money. You need some keyword research tools. I want to stick with free keyword research tools as much as possible. Keep your costs low. You're also going to need an auto-responder. When we set up the lead capture pages and things like that, you're going to need an auto-responder. Now I recommend that I use something like Aweber or GetResponse, but you can pretty much use any autoresponder service that you want. Now let's talk about how it works. This is pretty much how it works. Now in the quick overview, I gave you a brief overview, but this is how it works. Step by step your consulting business, you determine your skill set, your research, your market, and your competition. Then you brainstorm your services. You outline your services, basically creating a detailed plan or business plan. You set up lead capture pages. Do some pre-launch and do some marketing. Now there's a lot more that's involved in this, but of course each step has its own and I'll go into a little more detail in each step. So, with that said, let's move on to video. Number 2, welcome to video. Number 2. In this video, you get to learn how to determine your skill set and what you're good at. Now, this is going to be a fun video because you get to learn more about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses. So, this can apply to help you find more about what you want to build your consulting business around, but you should also get a lot more out of that from this video. So how do you determine what you're good at? Now, some of you might have some blank faces right now. Some of you might have a good idea of what you want to do in terms of consulting business. But if you're drawing a blank and you don't know what to do, then I want to help you find that in this particular video. Now, this is not limited to marketing consulting businesses. Only now, if you want to do a marketing consultant business and consult businesses, then you can do that. And I'll provide a lot of information in the videos later on. But in this particular video, I'm wanting to help you find what you're good at. If you don't already know. And this will also help you determine, let's say for example, that you think you're good at. You know, website and design, or you think you're good at graphics, or you think you're good at websites marketing and this and that. Now this video will also help you figure out ways you can sell yourself in terms of consulting and help you figure out, most importantly, if you are going to enjoy what you're doing, because the worst case scenarios, you think you're good at something and you start doing it and you realize that you hate it. So, this is what this video is all about. So, let me ask you some questions. I want you to think for a moment. What kind of learner are you? Are you an audio learner or are you a visual learner? Are you a person that, you know, if you're watching this video, you get more? If I do like screen capture stuff, or you're type of person that learns more by audio than by text, are you a hands-on type person? The reason why I'm asking you this question is because when you're running your marketing consulting business, you know, you could do more hands-on. Do you want to do more service-based, aka hands-on? Do you want to show people how to do something more visually or audio? Would you? Or if you're an audio person, you might want to do more advising or, you know, webinars, things like that. So what kind of learner are you now? Keep in mind that you also have to focus it towards whoever you are promoting your consultations tours. So that's something that is good to find out, whether they're audio, video or hands-on and things like that. Now let's begin to brainstorm. Let's dig deep. One thing you can start out with is you can ask your friends. You can ask your friends what you're good at now. Your friends often can tell or have a better view of what you're good at, because a lot of times your friends can tell you, oh, you're good at this and this. And you think you're so, wait, really, am I really good at this and this? Because sometimes it's hard to see in yourself, what you're good at, and, observe your own self. Your friends and your family forgot that. Ask your friends and your family, so that they can give you some ideas from that. I want you to create a list of things that you are good at. I'm sure you know what you're good at and what you're not. As good at. So, create a list of things, do some brainstorming, cut off the internet, pause this video, go somewhere where there's no internet and just begin to create a list of things that you're good at. Now, the reason why I say go somewhere quiet without internet is because internet is distracting. So, you just want to get away from all the distracting stuff and create a list of things that you're good at. Good at. Even you can go towards things that you enjoy. And start jotting down those things. Why do you enjoy those things? What makes those things interesting? And you can jot down, why are you interested in those things? Or why are you good at those things? What kind of person would be interested in those things? So, you're thinking to yourself not only what you're good at and what you can create your consulting business around, but you're also thinking about the customer, why they need it, what problems do they face. What kind of solutions and what kind of money will they be willing to pay? To fulfill that problem or fix that problem or learn from you or improve themselves. Then you want to think about, okay, do you know your strengths and your weaknesses? So, I want you to jot your strengths and your weaknesses. Now this specific method that I'm about to show you will reveal to you deeper. So that's what we're talking about. Digging deep. We're digging deep into your strengths and to your weaknesses now. How do you do that? How do you figure out your strengths and weaknesses? Because sometimes if you think about it, you might put a strength that is really a weakness, or you might put a weakness that is really a strength. So there are a couple ways to go about doing this. And one of the ways is to find out what personality type you are now. How do you figure that out? There's a test called the socioeconomics test. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my computer and show you step by step how you can find out your personality type, then how you can figure out more about your strengths and more about your weaknesses so that you can figure out, is this consulting business going to work with me or not? Now the purpose of this video is not totally to go out and figure out the services that you're providing. I'm going to talk about that in the later videos, but in this video, I particularly want you to understand more about yourself, more about your strengths and more about your weaknesses. So, once you take the sociologic test, which has only 4 questions, we're going to Google your personality. So, with that said, let's move on to my computer and let me show you, step by step, how you can take the test and how you can find more about your strengths and weaknesses to make sure that the consulting business that you go into is something that you're good at and something that you are going to enjoy, because think about it. If you're good at it and you enjoy it, then when you sell your product, you sell yourself, you sell your consulting service to whoever that is going to be more believable. They're going to see that you genuinely actually care. And that's the reason why our system here will work well with creating your consulting business. So let's move on to Socionics test. Okay, so what I want you to do is go to google.com and then type in tests. That's SOCIONICS space test. So, if you click search, you're going to get the top. These are basically just a bunch of tests that you could take. If you go here and you click on the type, Assistant Turbo, as you can see, it says the shortest test ever. It's a 4-question test, or it's actually yo-yo. You read this? Basically, it says which population can you relate to the most? Are you involved in what is happening outside and around them? Are you open, often talkative? Basically what this is, it's a personality test. And what it's going to give you is, if you answer them honestly, it's going to give you a 4-letter word. Now I'm not going to go through this. I'm going to let you do this on your own, but mine is an ESFJ, so what you could do is you could go to Google. The second step is going to Google and type in that 4-letter word. Now the 4-letter word is basically a Myers-Briggs. If you've heard of Myers-Briggs, is pretty much the same thing. What this allows you to see are your strengths and your weaknesses. So, you can see, you know, what kind of person you are most likely, you know, what kind of person you are. But what I have found over the years is I've showed people this and they read it and they read you the profile about themselves. This has nothing to do with astrology or anything like that. This is actual personality profile. So, this is really you. So, if I go to ESFJ, I usually pick the top few and look over them. So, for example, the ESFJ is a caregiver, and you can read through basically, you know, ESFJs are people, persons, they love people. So, I know that I'm a people person, so I would much rather deal with people up front. And I would actually much rather, I've actually enjoyed doing consulting work in terms of just giving advice. Service-based is okay. I'd rather outsource that kind of stuff. But I rather deal with people, person, face to face. I love it. I like to talk to people on the phone. That's why I enjoy it. Now, some of you may not enjoy that. Some of you actually may enjoy doing service-based consulting more so than giving advice only. So that's why I say, figure out who you are, what your strengths, what your weaknesses are, read through you. Profile. And one thing I like is if I go to this page and I scroll down to the bottom and it says careers for ESFJS, and it also says ESFJ relationships. Now under ESFJ relationships, it shows me the strikes and the weaknesses. So, as you can see the strikes here, it says, put forth effort to fulfill their duties and their obligations. Blah, blah, blah. They're service-oriented, not necessarily in the service projects, but you know, they want to please others and they take their commitments seriously, blah, blah, blah. But then I can also see my weaknesses. And if you do this test, you can also see your weaknesses too, because if you build your consulting business and surround it and make sure that, you know, the services that you provide because of your strengths. You don't focus too much on your weaknesses, but you can, if you want to, but just keep in mind that you can increase your efficiency rate by focusing on what you're good at already. And you'll more so enjoy doing that too. Now, if I look at the careers for ESFJs, I scroll down to the bottom. I can kind of see the different types of things here. The possible career paths for an ESFJ, but here's the kicker. I'm showing you this, not really to show you, oh, you can go do childcare teaching and stuff like that. I'm showing you this because a lot of times you can get along with these types of people, because you're an ESFJ. You think like these types of people can be your potential customers, you know, because you think already like them. And you can relate very, very easily to them. I have found over the years, I can grab this and go after now. TG is not necessarily the best client necessary, barely, but I can go after counselors, psychological counselors, you know, counter-counting, accountants, CPAs, you know, administrators, things like that. So that's what I wanted to show you. And show you how easy that was. Simply take the test step to, you know, type this into here, click on the first one or first few, you see finding your strengths and find your weaknesses, and then you can build your consulting business. And I guarantee you once you have gone through this video and you have learned more about yourself, then creating a consulting business and finding opportunities out there that might come out. Towards you is going to be so much easier. Hi, and welcome to video number 3. In this video, you get to learn how to research your market and your competition. Now in video number 2, you learn how to determine your skills and what you're good at. Now, we didn't really talk about, different types of markets. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about potential markets just to give you some ideas, but we're also going to talk about researching your market in a little more depth and how to find your market and how to find your competition, because you want to make sure that if you do go into a market, there is competition, but there's not too much competition. So there's a difference there. So, let's go ahead and get started. Now I briefly mentioned this a while back, you want to think of, is it online or offline? Online basically means that your clients are worldwide. Because if you think online, you think worldwide less money, most likely, but not always. That doesn't always mean that, you're going to make less money, especially if you get into a tightly focused niche. But let's say if you're the best of the best, of course you can charge more money, but let's assume that you're not the best of the best. And you're just getting started. If that's the case, then with online consulting, you might make, $297 to $497 to $997, which is not bad. And, most likely with online, you can get more clients with offline. You got to do a little more convincing, but most likely your clientele has more money and they're not necessarily wanting to do, let's say for example, marketing. So, when you come in marketing consultations, you can charge a little more money, you know, a couple thousand here and there. So it's basically a give and take. You got to figure out. You want to go online, or do you want to go offline? It's okay to do both online and offline, but if you're starting out, you probably want to stick with one or two and test it out, see which one is more profitable for you. And then go with that specific one. You want to keep a balance, more competition. The better more competition basically means that there is a buying markets. If you go into a market where there's very little competition, then I want you to be aware that there might not be a lot of people purchasing or buying. So that might be an issue as well, because you don't want to educate your customers. And that's something that I did one time, and I made that big mistake by having to go through thinking, oh, there's not a lot of competition, but you know, years later, I realized that I had to educate the market. Now the market is good now, but at that time there wasn't a lot of competition. So, you want to balance between a little bit of competition versus too much competition. Now, what I want to do now is give you a possible clientele as like people that you could possibly do business with now. Keep in mind that this is focused tours, marketing consultations. Now, if you're doing other types of consultations, we'll say website consultations and business-related consultations, this list will actually help you. But if you're doing something like skiing, you're good at skiing. Are you good at wrestling? You know, consulting, stuff like that. This clientele list probably won't do you bit of a good, but just want to give you some ideas. Possible clients in terms of business clients and marketing business clients. You pretty much want to target people who have, you know, a customer clientele that are paying them a lot of money. For example, plumbers. I know plumbers make a lot of money because every time they come and fix a house, it's about $200, $300 per visit. And recently, you know, they fixed up a house plumber. They fix up one of my rotor's houses, and because one of my relatives lived on a slab foundation and one of the pipes, the sewage pipes were like leaking or something. So, the plumbers had to come in and drill the foundation at costs like $3,000 bucks. So, think about the type of money that these clients are paying your business clients. So, plumbers definitely a good niche to go into. Electricians definitely as well. Think about, you know, houses. They have to replace lots of, you know, wiring. Old houses have bad wiring, you know, so they replace that kind of stuff. They earn about a couple thousand and more. Your contractors, you got loan brokers specifically when they, you know, everybody's looking for a house. Not everybody, but a lot of people are still looking for house in this market. In fact, loan brokers, they earn about 1 to 2% origination fee. So, what that is for every person that they find they earn about. I think about anywhere from $1,000 to a couple $1,000 per loan. So, if you think if you're a marketing consultant and you're bringing leads to a table, let's say 10 of those leads out of the 100 leads convert. You know, these loan brokers are making about $10,000. So, think about what kind of fees you could charge them. Dentists, they make good money. Lawyers, especially. Yes, definitely. You could go into niches of lawyers, like, cosmetic lawyers, things like that. Litigators, trial lawyers, attorney of law and criminal lawyers, real estate lawyers, specific niches. Roof companies make really good money. Bathroom remodel realtors. Definitely, because voters, like I talked about earlier, most of them take about a 6% cut, especially listing agents. So, if you have, listing agent and realtor, they get 6%, they cut that. So, each realtor is bringing to the table. You're bringing home about couple $1,000. Chiropractors, mechanics. No, car mechanics definitely make good money just because cars are always going to be breaking down. They're going to have a consistent amount of money. I consulted a mechanic company, a big car mechanic, and at the time they weren't doing as well, but now they're just so packed that even when I go there, they're having to book. Appointment and stuff like that. So they're making good money with car mechanics, counselors, different types of counselors, psychological counselors. They make really good money. Landscapers do as well. Window repair replacements. They definitely make good money. I can tell you that because each window, especially the new energy efficient windows, they're earning about $300. Per window. So, imagine if you get a client over one client could pull in, $3, $4, $5,000 house repair types, moving companies, carpenters, and more. So that's just a brief list of people that you can potentially go after. In terms of business consultations, marketing consultations, or anything like that. So, this part of this video is going to help you figure out what kind of services you want to provide, because you already know what you're good at. So, you want to figure out what kind of services you want to provide now. One good way of figuring out what people are buying is by going to Amazon.com books. I like books because books are a great way to figure out, especially do-it-yourself books, but books in general, books, audiobooks can help you figure out, is there a big buyer's market out there for that specific niche? Now, of course, you're doing consulting work. But think of the books like there's sort of like consultants, so they're consulting these people, but of course you're consulting the businesses. Therefore, the businesses are helping these people. So, think of books like a way to figure out if there's a buyer's market. Barnes & Noble's books is also good. Barnes & Noble's. If you don't know, it's similar to Amazon.com, but it's basically a bookstore. Apple Books. You can go to the iTunes Store, Apple Store, figure out what kind of things people are buying. And you want to ask yourself, are there a lot of books being bought on that specific subject matter? So, for example, if I was running a marketing company or marketing consulting company, and I was specifically targeting, let's say plumbers, and I want to consult. I want to be the marketing consultants of plumbers in a specific area. No, there are two views, two different perspectives. You could study the plumbing and different types of plumbing, so understand, what kind of needs they have. But primarily for yourself, if you're creating, a list of services, you can do research on, is this marketing consultant service going to really work, or is this skiing consultant service going to work? So, you get to see it in two different lights. Okay. So right now I'm located at Amazon.com. And what I want to do is basically do some research. So I'm going to go look in their book department. And let's say, for example, that I want to do some sort of consulting in the market of, let's just do marketing consultant for now, consultants. Now, the good thing about Amazon is it lists what it sells the most from the top to the bottom. So, as you can see here, guerrilla marketing for consultants, getting clients, and so forth. Now, another thing you can do with Amazon, is if you type in the word consultants, you can kind of get a good idea of what kind of consulting gigs and consulting subject matters are out there. And another good thing is if you want to do some research, let's say for your client, then you can say like plumbing, what kind of plumbing category and what is selling from top to bottom. So, what is the highest demanded things from top to bottom? So, Amazon is a good tool to use. Barnes & Noble's barnesandnoble.com. You can do the same thing here as well. Just to do some research, to see if there's by market out there and study their customers. Like I said, if you're going after a plumbing business owner or a realtor or electrician or specific type of plumber, specific type of lawyer, then study their customers. And when I say their customers, I'm talking about, let's say for example, you're consulting a business owner and then, the business owners, customers, so study their customers. How urgent are their needs? How much are they willing to pay, to fix their problems? Like I gave you the example of the plumbers, their customers obviously have urgent needs. I mean, think about if your sewage pipeline just broke, then your house is going to smell like sewage. So definitely you're very urgent needs. You're willing to pay good money to get it fixed. Otherwise, your house is going to really smell. So, okay. So right now, what I'm going to do is basically spy on the clients of your business clients. And to do that, I want you to go to google.com and type in quantcast.com. So, this is what quantcast.com looks like. Basically, the site is a research tool. It's free, and it allows you to find information about more about the audiences of a specific niche. So, for example, if I want to type in plumbing or plumber, I'll type in plumber, and you'll notice that Quadcast gives you data about these sites. And then from these sites, you can, if you go down to the About the bottom area, it'll show you a little bit about the client, each client, and a 57% are male. 43% are female. The majority are 35 to 50 years old, or some are 18 to 34 Caucasian. It seems to be a mixture, no kids, you know, it basically gives you an idea of what kind of person, you know, the client is. And being that most of the clients are about 35 to 50 probably means that they have good money or at least stable income. And you can see how's the errand and things like that. So, this will give you a good, not exactly exact data, but it will give you a good impression of what kind of clients your client has. So, if your client is a high earner, like it has a job, and their clients, you know, are able to pay them good money, then most likely that means that when you get into that niche, then they're going to be able to have that budget to afford your consulting services. Now, if you go to Quantcast and you go do research on a specific niche and you come out to find that all of the people viewing that nature like teenagers and younger than 18. You might not want to go after that niche because you know that they're probably not going to have money or they would have to convince their parents to buy, you know, the consulting services and things like that for them to improve. So, this is just a good tool to use for that purpose. So, think about that. Who are your customers and who are their customers and what are their needs? Are they willing to pay good amount of money because you want to focus on clientele that is actually doing well, making money and willing to pay you good money to do consulting or service-based projects and things like that to improve their sales or to improve themselves? Now let's talk about the competition analysis. Oops. Now, when you figure out who your competition is, there are different ways to go about this. If you're going online, you can go online. You can pretty much use the same method online or offline. You can use keyword tools like Keyword Spy and look at their pay-per-click ads. So let's say for example, that I am running let's say a video marketing consulting business, so I can figure out I can go online, go to Google and type in, video marketing consulting. Or marketing consulting and see what kind of pay-per-click ads come about, or go to Keyword Spy and see how much competition you have. You can use other tools like Market Samurai. I'm not using that in this video series, just because I want to keep everything free. But personally I use Market Samurai. I think it costs about $97 at the time when I purchased it. But it tells you a lot about your market and your competition analysis. Now, in terms of offline, you can also use keyword tools. You can also find pay-per-click ads, but you can also look at newspapers, niche magazines, niche newsletters, and so forth. Now, while you can use all the fancy tools like Market Samurai and other keyword tools to find your competition, I'm going to show you a simple way to research your competition. Now, if you want to dig deeper, you're going to have to use the keyword tools, but this will help you get an idea of what your competition is selling and get an idea of what you can sell as well. Now, this is a two-step process. The first thing to do is, of course, is to go to Google. Now when you're Angle, the first thing I want you to do is there's two keywords or two Google. What we call Google operators. If you put this into Google, for example, and all entitle, what we're basically searching are websites that contain the keywords video consulting or video marketing consulting, let's say video consultant. So this shows us online, video consulting, network, video consulting, streaming, video consulting, video production, digital, and so forth. Now I'm going to change this to online video consulting. Because everybody wants to know how to get their videos on YouTube, how to get their videos, how to use video marketing, to market their products and things like that. So, as you can see, when I put online video consulting, I see a whole lot of different types of online video consulting. So what you could do is you could go through here and just take a look at what people are offering. So obviously we can see that this site provides video consultations for business owners, marketing professionals, and so forth. So basically what I want you to do is just browse it, look through it, see what kind of stuff they're providing this side here. Online video consulting. Online video strategy. Online video consulting. So you could go here and just get some ideas. Once you have figured it out, one or two sites that you feel like are very close to you. Let's say for example, the viral posts, or let's say the, let's see here. vidhost.co.nz, because this was actually an online V consulting. It looks like an online video consulting firms. So let's say that once you have figured it out, websites that are closer to you, because not everyone's going to fit something that's similar to you, but once you found that, the next step is to find the related sites. Now, if you put related : and I'll do that in just a minute, I go back to Google, open a new tab, and I type in related : Basically after this, you want to type in the web address. So in this case, we have www.vidhost.co.nz and we're going to put that here. Now, it doesn't really show us anything. So, we're going to try this over and over again until we see a bunch of results. So I can try this one. So I'm going to try the Viral Pulse. Usually the ones at the top are better, or the bigger companies. So as we can see here, related, basically what Google does is it goes out and finds sites that are related to viralpulse.com. So essentially it basically picks out the competition of this site. So because this site is somewhat your competition anyways, their competition is your competition and so forth. So as you can see, net video consulting, digital video and consulting. So you can go through here and get a good idea. Open the websites, look at what they're offering. Obviously this is network security, so that's like could be a little different consulting, but it gives you an idea of what kind of different types of video consulting that you could brand out or branch out into. So online video advertising is security, video, different types of video and things like that. And you can do the same thing with other things like, let's say, for example, that you are providing purely Facebook advertising. So Facebook consulting, and you can change it around. You can do Facebook consulting, you can do Facebook consultants. And once you find that site, then of course do relate it so that you can see not just that site, but other of your competition, and just look through it and get a good idea of who your competition is. You don't have to worry too much about all these statistical data, but figure out who your competition is, what they're providing, and get that idea of what you can provide as well. Hi, and welcome to video number 4. In this video, you're going to do a little more brainstorming, but you're going to figure out exactly what kind of services you want to provide. Now in video 2, you found out about your strengths and what you're good at. Video 3, we talked about, doing some research about your competition and your market, and now you're going to figure out what kind of services you're going to provide and what they're going to cost and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. The first question that I want you to ask yourself is this: what type of consulting business do you want to run? You want to run purely a service-based consulting service, or do you want to do advice, or do you want to do both now? It might be a good idea to start with one of these two before you do both, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. So when I talk about service base, let's say, for example, you want to help a realtor build their list of clientele lists. So are their prospects. So what you could do is help them set up an autoresponder and a lead capture page. That would be service based. Now you could consult them along the way if you wanted to, but if you're just doing consulting, then consulting would be just giving them advice. For example, a lawyer gives a person advice. You hire somebody, let's say, for example, an accountant or CPA. A CPA is a certified public accountant. Somebody who can advise you in terms of taxes and accounting and things like that. So that would be a consulting-only business, but you can do both if you want to. Let's say, for example, you're in the marketing consulting business or the copywriting consulting business. So you could offer people services in terms of like writing their copy, writing their ads, in your writing persuasive content. But you can also advise people who don't want maybe to do your service-based service, but they want to take you up on your consulting and they want to do this themselves. So in this case, you can just coach them and consult with them. Tell them what to do. Look at their, copywriting, look at their ads, tell them what they need to do in the future to improve their current ads. Yes. Something to keep in mind now from video. Number 2, you learn how to determine your best skills. Now what I want to do now is, I want to show you some examples that derived from them. So these examples primarily focus on marketing-related consulting businesses. So if you're looking to start your own, let's say ice skating consulting, or wrestling consulting, or accounting or lawyer consulting business, you can use these ideas, but you can pretty much ignore these next few slides though. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you to show you how to dig deeper. Once you learn to, what you want to do, you can dig deeper and find what kind of services you want to do. So let's talk about graphics. Remember how I talked about a video number 2, what kind of learner you are. You got audio, you got visual, and you got hands-on. Well, graphics tends to fall under the visual/hands-on type of person. So if you found that you're good at graphics and you're good at artists and designing and you have a good eye for that, you may not be the best right now, but that's something that you've done designs and things like that. Then this might be something you want to go into. And believe it or not, graphics has a lot in terms of consulting businesses, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. If a company's logo is not that great, it needs to be improved, and you have a good eye for things. You may not be a great designer, but you have a good eye for things. If that's the case, then you can outsource, you can do outsourcing. You could find somebody who is a good graphics designer, hire them, have them work for you on a consistent basis. And you can act as the broker so you can take a logo that's not as good and improve it as a service-based project. Many site designing now on online businesses have lots of mini sites. So you could do mini site designing, could do graphics, logos, website designing. Website designing is big in terms of offline consulting, because a lot of businesses offline just don't know how to build a business. They don't know how to build a logo or design a logo and things like that. So like logos, for example, you can charge $200, $300 for a logo. All you have to do is find somebody to outsource it to. You can get a really good logo designed for less than 10 to 20 bucks. Have a designed, and guess what? You're pretty much consulting in that manner. So graphics can turn into company logos, branding, brand marketing, so you could become a brand marketing consultant or a branding marketing consultant. Logical. Let's say you're the type of person that is very logical. You know, you're good at, let's say for example, programming. You may not be a programming. For example, I used to program, but I found that I was really not that good in programming, but I'm very logical. So I have the ability to create really good software programs in terms of taking an idea and creating a software product out of that. So I've done this before, where I've taken an idea I've created, you know, the software specifications, and help people create software projects. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you here that you may not necessarily be good at something. You may not even know how to design graphics or do programming, but if you know how to get around that, and you're logical and you know how to create website programs, you know, you're good at computers, or, you know, things like that. So, these are ideas, and I'm just showing you that you really don't have to be. You don't have to know how to do it in order to make money from it. You just have to find somebody who is good at it. Make sure that they're doing a good job and go from that point. Writing. Not everybody is good at writing. But if you're kind of good at it, and you have a good view of copywriting, writing, sales copy, press releases, article writing, persuasive writing, ads, writing, and so forth, PPC ads writing and all that other stuff, then you can get somebody to do copywriting for you, or you can do it yourself. And you can read a couple books on copywriting and test and tweak and make, improve yourself in the area of copywriting and advise people, write sales copy. You can write press releases. You know how many companies are willing to pay you to write a press release and get it submitted to Google News? Well, let's say, for example, let's press releases. You can get somebody to write a press release for less than $20-30. You could use sites like WebWire and other sites, or YWire there. You could do article marketing, submit them to sites like Easy and Articles, only Wired.com in. Well, actually only Wire does social bookmarking, but in a way indirectly you can use article marketing and submit articles as social bookmarks, but I'm not going to get into that right now. The point is companies, local businesses are willing to pay you anywhere from $500 to $1,000. If you can get her press release written, and if you can get that press release submitted to Google News, you can use WebWire, you can use PRWeb.com. WebWire's only $20. I think it's $19.99, but technically that's $20, but you do submit them and they can get you that press release into Google News. Now, most offline businesses don't realize, but when they hear wow, you can write a press release and get it submitted to Google News. I mean, think about Google News. When I first submitted a press release to PureWeb.com, it costs me $169, but in a matter of hours, I was submitted to Google News. In a matter of weeks, I was getting thousands among thousands of backlinks. So imagine you telling an offline business, hey, I can write a press release for you. I can get it submitted to Google News, and I can guarantee that you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of backlinks to that press release, and just that alone, cost you less than $50 to produce and submit. That alone, you can charge a couple $1,000s to do sales copy. Article writing is another powerful thing in persuasive writing and things like that. Now I don't want to go on and on and on and talk about this, but classified as writing, as you can see, you can become a copywriting consultant. So if you're a copywriting consultant and you go into this specific niche, you can see that within the specific niche, you can become very, very popular. So you can even go after realtors. You could be a realtor copywriting consultant. You can be a plumber marketing/con copywriting consultant, and you can make really good money just with writing alone. Like I said, you don't have to be able to write. You may be a guy or person of male or female that, you don't know how to write as long as you know how to outsource. And as long as you know how to read through, make sure that it is indeed a good press release. Then you can become a copywriting consultant or a poor persuasive ad copy consultant. Now let's move on to general internet marketing. This is pretty broad, but you can do pretty much everything that I showed you. Writing graphics, mini site designs, logos, brand marketing, autoresponders, online marketing, lead generation, different types of traffic like search engine optimization, pay-per-click marketing, which is a big one among offline businesses, article marketing and so forth. So in terms of general internet marketing, there's so much that you can offer in general internet marketing, like for example, PPC, SEO. If you do just one of those, that's just huge than PBC marketing. If you can do, internet PPC plus ad copy for PPC, that's actually very, very big with offline businesses with dealing with offline businesses. And that brings us to offline marketing. You can become an offline marketing consultant. If you want to, you can, get their ads submitted to Yellow Pages. In fact, I had a friend, all he did was sell Yellow Page ads. As he said, it was a couple of $100 to $1,000. If you're an online marketer, you go to the offline arena. You can tell people, you can say, hey, you're spending a couple $1,000 with Yellow Pages. You can pay me a couple of $1,000. I will do a much better job for you than Yellow Pages can't, and with the online marketing and PPC and everything like that, you can actually help offline business owners a lot more than Yellow Pages can help them. So you're really helping them in the long run. You can do print ads, you can do direct mail, postcards, trade shows, PR, and more. In fact, I have a friend who's an offline marketing consultant, and she does very, very well. Because she knows, trade shows and things like that. And only took her, I think, about a year to learn offline marketing. Now she actually worked for an offline marketing company as a consultant, and now she's her own consultant and she's doing very well with that. Another thing you can do is you can act as a broker now. I briefly touched base, on graphic design and things like that. Acting as a broker is basically like, you're like a middleman, but you can outsource everything and you're just making a cut. So for example, the graphic design, logo and brand marketing, even if you don't know how to do graphic design or logo creation and things like that, you can offer that as a service. Now, how do you do that? Well, you can outsource by using different sites like Odesk.com, Scriptlance.com, Rentacoder.com, Guru.com, Fiverr.com. And more. Now I will say, in terms of graphic design, I have found people that can design primarily on Odesk. And I would say Scriptlance.com, even though Scriptlance is primarily a programming site, I've been able to find really good graphic designers there in Odesk.com. Scriptlance.com. I've found you can also find really good programmers. So if, for example, you wanted to be a software consultant, you can use striplance.com, but one thing you have to make sure is when you're a broker, you don't want to, let's say you give a deadline to the client. You say, hey, I'm going to get this done in 2 weeks, if you don't have a good relationship with somebody already. Whether through Upwork or Fiverr.com. If you don't have a good relationship, ship with some freelancer designer programmer or so forth, then they may not stick with that day. So, you definitely want to give yourself double the amount of time to give yourself enough wiggle room, just in case somebody comes back, 2 weeks later. Now I will say graphic design is generally fast software programming. Generally, I give them double the time. So, if the programmer comes back to me says, hey, this is going to take a month, I'm going to go to the client, tell them it's going to take about a month and a half. But since, or I'm going to say, it's going to take about 2 months to develop a software, but what I'm going to do is knock off a few couple $100 off your cost just to make the client a little happier. Fiverr.com is a good site. The site that you can go to pay people $5 to basically do just about anything and article marketing. I've found programmers on their programmers. not that great. It's okay. But you know, graphic design and article writing, I found to be phenomenal. Pay $5. It's pretty amazing. So, give it a try. So, like I said, the advantages of being a broker as he saved time. You saved money, but the disadvantages is if you find bad workers and you don't have a relationship with somebody, you can decrease your reputation and your credibility. So, the best to start out with is to build around your consulting business. Something that you're already good at. Eventually, as you get more and more clients, you can outsource that work, or you can act like a broker and find somebody who is good and build a good relationship with them and then build a consulting business around that. Hi, and welcome to video number 5, where you get to learn how to create your outline and create your services. Now we're also going to be talking about, how to figure out what kind of services to provide to your clients and your customers. Now, before we talk about the outline and figuring out what your services are going to be, let's talk about the client. The first thing you need to understand is your client, because guess what that is, who is going to buy your product, your services, or your consulting. Now, what I've done here is I've laid it out into a step-by-step process. So, you can see that you create a project outline for your clients first, because not all of your clients are going to get all of your services. Some will have some of your services, some will have some of your other services. So, there's no one-size-fits-all outline or service outline. So, you're going to give your clients a specific, customized project outline. You're going to figure out what their goal is. What is their goal? Most likely it's just to market the products and have more money, things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much self-explanatory. But what are their specific goals, or what are the goals? What are the specific goals? And then you need to figure out, okay, how can I get that client to that goal by using specific strategies? And then how realistic are these strategies? How long is it going to take? And of course, what do you need to do to get this client to their goal? Now, keep in mind that not all clients are created equal and not all of their businesses are going to be the same. So really there is no one size fits all. So that's pretty much a general view of understanding your clients. Like I said, there's no one size fits all plan. However, if you understand, you have your outline created, you have your services created, and you try to figure out all the services that you can provide, then you can customize it. So, the first thing you need to do is you need to meet with your customer. That's pretty much the primary thing. So, you need to meet with your customer first. You need to ask them lots of questions to see the more questions you ask the customer, and you can even give them free advice. That's fine. You don't want to give too much advice, but you want to give enough advice to let them know that you actually care about them. And you're sort of building that relationship with them as you meet with them because you've taken time, you're giving them some advice up front what possibly they might need to do. And you might have her free consultation first, and then you can get a good view of what they need. What do they do? Are they potential prospects? For example, in the consulting world, generally, you want to reach the type of customer like lawyers, accountants, people who have clients that pay them a lot of money. So, if the clients are paying them $100, $200, $300 an hour, you can expect that these types of clients will most likely take you pretty seriously. So, these types of clients generally would rather you do it. You do it all. So, if you think about it, a very small mom and pop store, running a restaurant, most of these companies, most of these small businesses do not have time to do everything. However, there are some people that have time to do that. So, you got to think, do they need consulting or do they need done-for-you services now? Generally, what I found is, if you find a customer that has a mix, they want you to do services. Plus, they want some consulting. Then this is a good customer. So, the question is, can they afford to pay you now? And can they afford to pay you in the long run? Now, if they can afford to pay you now, that's great. But if they're not getting consistent income themselves, then they may not be the best customer. So, if they pay you, let's say $5,000, $10,000 upfront to do a done-for-you service, that's fine. But if they want ongoing services from you, that's the ideal client, and you've got to think to yourself, which clients can you take, and which clients must you walk away from, because you can't take every single client. Otherwise, you might miss out on clients who are willing to pay you a lot more money, but at the same time, you want to deal with customers who want to deal with you as well, because some customers will not take you very seriously. Therefore are not willing to pay you much, or they're willing to pay you a lot of money, but they expect a ton of stuff. So yeah, you want to get somebody who you can help, but has a realistic feeling of what they want, or they know what they want. And they know it is realistic. Ask them questions about their business, get to know their business. If it's a plumbing business, get to know what is their business all about. How are their customers come and find them and pay them and things like that. And what are they doing now? For example, right now I'm consulting a realtor, and I've asked her, I said, what are you doing now to get people to your website and to get referrals? Well, a lot of what she's doing right now is primarily offline marketing, flyers, business cards, things like that. But in this case in point, she's not doing a whole lot of online marketing, and that's the key. What are they missing? Well, in this case, the realtor is missing a lot of online marketing. She's not doing video marketing, which can really help offline businesses. And I can see so many potentials and so many things that I can offer her if I know what is missing. So what are they doing now? But what are they missing? Because this is a great opportunity for you to write pretty much everything that they are missing. Now you've got to realize that you only want to give your clients what they need. Do not sell them something that they do not need, or they feel like they do not need because most clients don't like to be sold. If they feel like you are selling to them, then they are going to walk away and you are going to say, bye. So you are in this business because you want the consult and you want to help your customers. So only offer them what they're missing, but what they need, and can the missing items be fulfilled? By your services and consulting, which is pretty much what I talked about earlier. Now let's move on to the outline for your services and writing up your proposal. Now this is basically a template. You can follow these templates for your own creation of your services and your outlines and things like that. So I'm going to give you some ideas so that you can understand this in a better light. So the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out what your goal is. What are you aiming to achieve, like what kind of service are you going to create? Then you need a specific strategy. How are you going to get to that goal in general? It doesn't need to be super specific, or it can be in the middle of general and specific, but you need a strategy. You need to know how to get to that goal. How realistic is that goal? And you got to ask yourself, how realistic are these goals? And are these strategies, are you shooting for the moon or are you shooting for something that's closer? That is more because if you shoot for the moon, I guess when you promise too much, I've learned this in the past, but if you promise too much and you charge, let's say $5,000 for something that you're shooting to the moon for, then your customer's going to expect a lot more when you don't fulfill it. Guess what? They could just either get their money back or harm your credibility and your reputation because you did not fulfill your promises, or they could sue you. So it definitely wants to keep in mind, you got to do your research beforehand and you got to do brainstorming beforehand before you go all out, then you need to figure out what are you going to do. What are the exact steps that are needed to take to fulfill this goal? What do you need to do? And it all makes sense. When I give you an example, then you also need to figure out the turnaround time. How long can this take, and be sure to give yourself at least 1.5 or 2 times more worth of wiggle room. So for example, if you feel like you're doing video consulting or Facebook marketing, and you feel like an ad takes about an hour to set up, I would give yourself 1.5 hours or 2 hours to set up the ad campaign, because remember, a lot of times when we estimate services that we do, at least I do, you got to know yourself, of course, as well. I know that I tend to estimate a lot smaller. So if I tell somebody, hey, I'll have it done in about 2 days, that's usually a whole week for me in reality. So I've found that I know myself in high estimation is a little off, so you've got to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. So let me give you an outline example. Let's talk about a goal. Let's say that our goal is we're going to set up an online video marketing consulting firm or a service. Now you could go all out if you wanted to and just offer tons of marketing services if you want to. But I will say that I recommend that you pick it one service, whether you're setting up a list autoresponder or anything like that. You want to bring yourself as the specific marketing consultant, because if you're dealing with online, offline businesses, everybody out there, I found there's so many people out there that are offering marketing consulting services. So you got to figure out, how can I stand out among all of the other people who are selling marketing consultations? Well, if you go towards a niche and you're very, very specific, then for example, online video marketing consultant, you can help people market their videos or content, but at the same time, when you meet with them, you say, hey, not only do I do online video marketing, hey, I can set up a Facebook ad campaign. I can do a Google pay-per-click ad campaign and all these other things, but you can sell yourself your services when you actually meet with the person. So in this case, I'm doing online video marketing consulting. I'm helping businesses market their products and services through online video. Now what to do? What are the exact steps you need to take to fulfill this goal? So let's say, for example, someone approaches you, they say, hey, I need online video, help. I got this cool content. I provide this product and services. I want to get it out there. I don't know how to get it out there. Well, as you know, with online video marketing, all that consists of is, first you need to do keyword and market research. So you need to market research. You need to do keyword research. And I like to use Market Samurai because I can do proper keyword research and market research about the person's business, about their competition and things like that, because you want to know what kind of competition is already doing online video so that you can take a different approach. And have a unique selling proposition, so you want to make it so your client stands out versus the other cup competitor. So you've got keyword of market research. Then you have a new creation. You've got to create in the video. After you create, you do the market research and the keyword research. So what does video creation entail? That could entail, there's different types of videos. Like right now I'm doing PowerPoint video. You got screen capture video with Camtasia, you have live video and other types of video. So you got to think, okay, what kind of video can best express the products and services of my client, and what am I going to have to do? Do I have to rent a camera? You don't have to buy Camtasia. Do I have to? You know, what do you have to do? So, like I said, it's not one size. It's all. You've got to figure out your client, you got to understand them and what they need. Once you create the videos and you got to do proper video SEO, for example, when you upload it to YouTube, they asked for a title, description, tags, keywords, and so forth. So you need to make sure that that video will be able to rank in Google and be search engine friendly. And of course, once you've done the video SEO, you've got to upload the videos to video sites. You could use Traffic Geyser, you could use Pixel Pipe, you can use other types of services. And of course, you're going to have to track. Now, most of these sites provide tracking to mobile, provides tracking, you know, things like that. So you also want to think, okay, how can I do what my client wants me to do without having to spend too much of my money and too much of my time? And of course, what can be outsourced if anything can be outsourced? So you want to think, okay, how can you save time? And what can be outsourced? Then you want to think about turnaround time. How long can this take? Keyword market research can take a couple hours. Generally I'd say about half a day to a day for proper keyword research, just because for each client, I do a lot of research just to make sure I understand that competition, everything like that. So a day's worth, you got to think, okay, would this be consulting or the service? If I'm doing the work, then that, of course that's going to be a service, but if I'm just consulting them and I'm telling them, hey, you need to do this, you need to do keyword market research, video creation, video SEO, blah, 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 blah. Then that's consulting. However, I will tell you, most of your clients, they don't really want to learn about video marketing. They would rather pay you money to do video marketing. So for the most cases I've found, it tends to be done for you services on rare cases. If somebody wants consultations, I'll give them a video that maybe I created, or you can go online and find video marketing videos and training and just hook them up with that. But at the same time, generally, I would recommend that you do the done for you services, because if you do consulting and you just send them to a view marketing page or somebody else's site, you're pretty much sending those people in those clients to your site. So you don't want to do that, and you want to keep track and you want to keep that customer so that you can help them. One-on-one, and of course, research your competition to show you how to research competition briefly in the previous videos. But I cannot emphasize this more than no. You've got to research a competition so that you understand what they're doing and what kind of prices they are charging. If you understand your competition, then you can understand what you can provide and what you can provide more. Now let's talk about your prices. I'm going to give you an overview of your prices. And then I'm going to give you an example by using the video marketing consultation. Prices. So when you're figuring out your prices, you've got to ask yourself what are concerned are services and what are considered consultations. Now, preferably I prefer to charge service-based per project. So you've got to know yourself. If you're going to charge any price. For example, if you're going to set up an autoresponder and you tell the client I'll set up the autoresponder, I'll set up your list for $2,000, or what if you said $500? We'll just use an example. Let's say you say I will set up your autoresponder and all these other things for $500. You don't want to overestimate, but you don't want to underestimate as well. So, some people think, okay, well, I'm going to just charge per hour. That way, if I work 2 days work, let's say 8 hours per day, 16 hours, then I can make money from that. And I charged $50 for an hour. Well, yes, the thought and the concept. And you might be thinking, if I charged $50 and I worked the whole week, I'll make a lot of money. While that is true, you're missing out on clients that you could possibly have. At the same time, if you're only charging $50 and you do it all in 2 hours, you walk away with $100. So that's why when you charge per project, that is generally best, just because then you don't underestimate. And then often you don't overestimate, and you don't want to discount or give people discounts or give people freebies or bonuses, otherwise that takes away from your value. So, if you feel like, okay, you can do it under $1,000 and it takes you less time to do that. You could over-deliver and give them more consulting. Generally, is paid by hour. You can offer Hunter $200 or whatever prices, depending on your track record. And I found consulting. If it's consulting, I have to do less work because I just consult them and tell them, you know what to do. And I found services tend to be better, but if you have a services and consulting, it's a lot more fun because you have a variety of things to do. Then you gotta think what can be outsourced in terms of the service based up. Now consulting, of course, that's just face to face, so that can't really be outsourced unless you have somebody working with you, but with consider what services you can outsource services, and that's not hard to do. And in fact, if you want to set up an autoresponder, you can have your virtual assistant do that. And you can take on more projects that way. Now let me give you an example of prices. You want to ask yourself, do they want consulting, or do they want a done-for-you service? Like I said earlier, most businesses want you to do it for them. So what you need to do is you need to break it up. You need to break up. So, keyword and market research would be one thing, that he creation and other. So, video market research, like I said earlier, usually I give it about a date. So, if you were to spend, let's say 8 hours a day charging $250 an hour, you know, 8 times, $250 an hour, or even $200 an hour, you know, that's $1,600 or more. So that's a day's worth. So, you could say, okay, if I charged $50 an hour, get this, but if you're doing services, that's why I say charge per project. keyword market research, video creation, video SEO, uploading videos to video sites with traffic, geyser and tracking. Now, of course, there's a lot more that entails with video consulting, but these are pretty much the primary ones. So, you want to figure out, okay, what are the specific goals and what does it take to complete the video consulting and done-for-you service? Which one takes the most time? Well, keyword marketing research probably only takes about a day video. Oh, once you've done your keyword market research, that should be easy. Just couple hours. I would say if I said an hour, I'd give it 2 hours. If I say 2 hours, I get 4 hours just because I don't want to underestimate. Of course, if I overestimate, I'll tell the client and I'll usually give them some money back or discount it. Video creation takes the most time besides keyword market research. Video creation tends to take a lot more time because depending on what type of videos you got to think of, okay, what kind of video am I going to do? You got to prepare the content. You got to edit the videos. You've got to render the videos and then you've got to upload them. You have to have a place. No to host on, but of course we're using YouTube. So that would not be an issue. You've got to upload to video sites. Traffic geyser takes time to set up, but once you set it up, then you're pretty much set, but you need to be able to outsource this type of stuff. Tracking, you know, YouTube, all these other sites to provide tracking to Mogul provides tracking. So that's good. You want to think, okay, which site provides tracking the easiest so that I can just grab a report, create a report. And that's it, because you also want to think, how can I make it easy for myself, but how can I make it easy for my client? Because the easier it is for the client, the happier they will be, and especially you provide them as well. You see, building curiosity will help you build momentum and increase your conversions and your sales. And that's why we're going to talk about this in this video series. First of all, let's talk about pre-launch. Now, this works for both online and offline, and I'm going to give you some pointers that work offline and some pointers that will work online. But generally, this whole thing works pretty much online and offline. Let's talk about free versus paid content. Now you're probably wondering how this all fits into the pre-launch. Well, free content helps build curiosity. For example, if you think about, if I had an online video marketing consultant's business, and I had a free video that showed people, maybe tips on online marketing in relation to videos and what people can do, and they gained enough. That they know what to do, but they just don't have the time to do it. So, they hire me. So, this type of stuff will help you build a relationship with your prospects who don't even know you, but after you teach them stuff, then they'll feel like, wow, I've learned a lot. You know, I could have paid somebody else, but I got this information for free. And now I have trust with this person who's giving this content, so that builds curiosity. So, you could have a video, 2 videos, 3 videos, 4 videos. You could have ebooks and so forth, but I will tell you these videos definitely do help, especially nowadays with so many people watching YouTube and things like that. So, videos is a lot easier than having to read content. However, the content is good and it's a short report. Then you can write it in a short PDF file. Now the content has to be something that people are willing to pay money for. If people are willing to pay money for the content, but give it to them for free, that is valuable. Or if you're going to sell something, you could sell something that's worth maybe $500 or $1,000 for 90% or more off. If you tell them that if you say I normally charge, $1,000 for this consultation, but you're getting it for free in this video. And you're building a list from that. Then you're building momentum, you're building curiosity and doing a pre-launch for your consulting business. Now pre-launch does not have to be like a one-time thing. It can be an ongoing thing, depending on the person who gets to your site. There are several ways of going about doing this. You could have something that's for free. And then after maybe a few videos of free, valuable stuff, you present them with an offer that adds that, like consulting. Let's say for example, that I have several videos on video marketing, video consulting and things of video marketing.